What's up, Peoria? Mark Supreme, Peoria Journal-Star. This is RapPolitics. Appreciate y'all tuning in. It's Facebook, man. Y'all could have tuned in to anything on the book. And y'all locked in with RapPolitics and Peoria Journal-Star, man. We appreciate it. And you already know we are brought to you by Sherman's, where they carry the best in furniture, mattresses, and appliances, and they also hiring. Sherman's is one of the few places left in town that doesn't care about your education. They just promote people that work hard, have a good attitude, and follow their core values. One of the few places that hard work gets recognized and gets you ahead. You can log on to shermanscareers.com to check out the openings and apply online. And we're also brought to you by Terry Shepard, a real estate consultant whose values are rooted in customer care and service. She can help you negotiate your next deal and get you into a home that fits. She's with Remax Traders Unlimited, and she can be reached at 309-361-4592. Appreciate y'all tuning in today, man. We got a show lined up for y'all. We got two alphas back to back, and Councilman Andre Allen and President and CEO of the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce, Joshua Gunn. So y'all definitely don't want to miss none of that. And if you got any questions, y'all definitely want to throw those in the comments, and we will get to them momentarily. Real quick, though, I got to highlight the obvious real quick, man. DJ Timmy Two Times unfortunately passed away earlier this week from his battle with cancer. If you know anything about anything dealing with downtown, dealing with Cams, dealing with Sully's, dealing with Kenny's, dealing with music, you know who DJ Timmy Two Times was. He was diagnosed with lung cancer earlier this year and did a hard-fought battle and was actually able to fill out his dream of performing at the summer camp Three Sisters Park this past weekend. Started his DJ set at 1 a.m. and really rocked it. I saw a video from it. Unfortunately, I didn't make it out there, but I did see video. And though I didn't know him personally, we all were in the DJ radio music area together, and nothing but good things. I heard about him, met him on a couple occasions. There's actually a news story in the Peoria Journal-Star about him in there today. So definitely check that out when you get a chance. But RIP to a Peoria music legend. And I also want to highlight the fact that this is the second time, I don't know if anybody knew about this earlier, this is the second DJ in the Peoria area that has unfortunately passed away from cancer in the last couple years. DJ Timmy Two Times this past week, and DJ Killer K back in 2017. And I don't, it's one of those things where cancer is cancer, right? We don't know how to, we don't have a cure for it or nothing like that. But man, very unfortunate. And I'll tell you, if I had all the money in the world, I know we're talking about COVID, I know we're dealing with economics and things like that. But if one day we can figure out how to all come together and really aggressively tackle cancer research, I think my day and a lot of other families' day will be made. But RIP to music legend. Also, if you noticed in the news earlier today or last night, it was one of the two. You know what I'm saying? I peeped it. But Governor Pritzker is mandating masks again. So the masks are coming back for the fall, indoor, whether you've been vaccinated or not. Masks are coming back in the fall. So look, get your information about COVID-19. Make sure you're washing your hands. I mean, it's fall again, man. We had a good past weekend, but fall is coming back. It's starting to get darker earlier. So we already know what that means given the past fall. So wash your hands, be protective of others, social distance like we're supposed to. Do your research on the vaccinations. I'm not sitting here telling you to go get it or not to go get it, but the masks are back for a reason. So let's make sure that we're protecting ourselves and others. So right now I got to bring up Councilman Andre Allen, who is wearing the hat of promoter, I guess, today. Are we a promoter today? We alpha? What we doing today, man? What's good?
I'm wearing my Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated hat today. Wish I wore that hat 24/7, 365, but specifically here to talk about our golf outing. Thanks for having me, bro. Always excited, man. Appreciate everything you're doing for us.
Most def. So I know you told me off air, it's an ice cold weekend, man. Talk about it.
It's a very ice cold weekend. So the brothers of the Kappa Pi Lambda chapter, which is the Peoria alumni chapter here in Peoria, we've got a full weekend. Tomorrow is our annual golf outing, the Golden Torch Classic. We've been doing this for a number of years. It's out at Metamora Fields in Metamora, Illinois. I think we still have a few spots left if you want to go out there and get your Tiger Woods on. If you're not that good at golf, it's cool. I'm in between Tiger Woods and Charles Barkley, but I go out there, have a good time. I bring the positive vibes, it's a good time. And then on Saturday, we have our annual 5K down at the Riverplex. And that's a good event as well, too. So these are good events that we have. Our chapter, we have a 501c3, which is called the Golden Torch Foundation. So that really allows us to do a lot of the things that we do for the community and allows us to give back. So definitely you supporting the golf outing and the 5K will allow us to continue to perform the manly deeds that we do in the Peoria community.
Most definitely. And I missed it on the front end. Did you say that people have to have their own clubs, or where are people at with that? People that want to last minute pull up?
So yeah, you definitely need to pull up with your own clubs, at least be in a foursome that you can, use somebody's clubs. I'm still borrowing somebody's club. So, shout out to Ryan. I hope, he's letting me hold them down, you know what I mean? Because I'm not quite there yet. I need to find a Facebook marketplace deal or a garage sale. So don't feel bad if you don't own a set of clubs. It's all good.
And what time does this go down tomorrow?
Yeah, so check-in begins at 11, and then the actual outing will kick off at 12 tomorrow. So it's going to be a really good time. Like I said, still some spots available. If you like to do a sponsorship, that's still available as well too. You can visit our website, peoriaalphas.com, if you want any more information about this event, the 5K, or any type of events that we have going on in the Peoria community. peoriaalphas.com is a great resource for you.
Most definitely. And you are a councilman as well. We got to have you on RapPolitics sometime soon to discuss city happenings. But is there anything going on right now in the city that people should be looking out for coming down from the Red Building?
You know what? We've got some big things coming. Obviously, many municipalities got funds from the federal government under the American Rescue Plan Act. Peoria got $47 million, $48 million over the next 2 years that we're able to spend. So a survey went out on behalf of the city of Peoria. The city manager said this past Tuesday, we had about 850 people that filled it out. So we appreciate the community buy-in there. And in 2 weeks, we'll have a policy session to talk about those results, and then some recommendations that, where this money could be earmarked from. So I think it's very important that we get that community buy-in and we make sure that this money goes in the right places to fill some holes that were caused by COVID-19. To make sure that our financial house is in order. So that is kind of the big thing. We will also be going into budget season. So as a rookie on the council going into budget, that can be a very tedious time. And so I'm excited about that journey, putting my hard hat on, making sure that I fight for resources in my district of District 4, and also keeping that citywide perspective, ensuring the rest of the city is used with an equity lens. I think it's very important.
Most def. And before you head out, I know we spoke a little bit off air. Peoria native, so you've heard the name DJ Timmy 2 Times, been out a little bit downtown and things like that. When you hear that name and you hear that name ring and then you hear about his passing, what comes to mind for you?
This was a tough week in Peoria. I mean, we came off a very positive weekend with 50 and, State Representative Jahan Gordon Booth's event and Boosie, which is a great time. And then seeing DJ, Timmy 2 Times pass away. I mean, as someone who came up in the Cam's era, who came up in the Sully's era, about DJ, Timmy 2 Times. You know him, and to see he was still doing this thing up until he took his last breath is very motivating. It just lets you know that whatever you're going through, you need to continue to keep persevering into it that time. So shout out to him, prayers and condolences to his family and his loved ones. He touched so many. And so I hope I can touch as many people as I did. So shout out to him. He was definitely a legend in the Peoria music scene and just a Peoria legend in general, man. So RIP to one of the GOATs in the DJ scene of Peoria.
Definitely one of the GOATs. So golf outing going on tomorrow, midday, and then the 5K on Saturday as well. You can get to peoriaalphas.com to get some more information. Councilman, you already know we're going to have you back, man.
Hey, anytime, bro. I appreciate you, man. You're the voice of the P, Marcus. Love, bro.
Already. So shout out to Councilman Andre Allen. That event is going on this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday, back to back. So definitely check those out. And now we got our feature for tonight. He's a transplant from Durham, North Carolina, president and CEO of Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce. He's the first Black president. So a young Barack Obama, you know what I'm talking about. Mr. Joshua Gunn. Joshua, what's good?
What's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
You too, man. You too. So real quick, so we met not too long ago at the event that you guys did at the
Stadium.
Chief Stadium, and you guys also made sure to rock with us on the Juneteenth event. So we appreciate it. So
which was love, man. Big respect for the Juneteenth festival, man. It was just good vibes all around. Love to see it, man. Love to see it.
Most day, yeah. Appreciate you coming out for that, and appreciate the support. So I did some research on Durham real quick. I had to do some research because we know what's out there, right? But we don't know what's out there. So I did some research, and Durham is experiencing a surge in population. It's a destination right now among Asians and whites. And when it comes to blacks, it's a little bit more popular than newcomers going to Memphis, actually. Mm-hmm. So there's more people going to Durham, black people going to Durham than they're going to Memphis. It's a little more than twice the size of Peoria, has 10% more black people than Peoria at 38%. And I say all that to say, why'd you move to Peoria?
It's a long story, man. But let me touch on the Durham piece really quick. So, Durham is growing really fast. Right? Like it's experiencing this rapid growth, and it sort of came out of nowhere, right? So Durham, the Durham of my childhood was about the size of Peoria, right? So we were probably about 160,000 people or so when I was in the 90s, right? So we're over 300,000 now or something like that if you include the county. And the Triangle metro area is about 2 million people now. If you had told me that when I was a kid, I would have laughed, right? If you had told me when I was a kid that people would be wanting to move into Durham instead of out of Durham when I was a kid, I would have laughed, right? It was just a very different place than it is now. Always had a rich black history. In fact, we were probably more than 40% black pre all of the growth and gentrification that the city is experiencing. So a rich black history and a rich cultural history in Durham, and a place I'm really proud to be from. You know what I mean? Why'd I come to Peoria? Well, my background is in the music industry, Marcus. I did that for like 20 plus years of my life, right? I'm 36 now. So, more than half of my life was in the music industry. I leaned into community organizing work in my hometown, really trying to leverage the notoriety that I had developed through music to help make a positive impact on my community, specifically around some of the issues that the growth was causing, right? Some of the inequities that I saw beginning, some of the displacement of black folks in particular in Durham. I talk to a new homeboy every day that's been priced out of his city. In fact, one of my really good friends talked to him today. He's like, yo, we just bought a house. And I'm like, where? He's like, man, we moved into one of the suburbs, right? And Durham has become so expensive now that it's really exclusive instead of inclusive, which inclusion really was baked into the model of the city. So I leaned in around 2012, 2013 into that work, right? We started a festival called Black August in the Park with 4 friends of mine. Became one of the biggest festivals in North Carolina, centered around creating safe spaces for black people. We had pre-pandemic, I think 19,000 people at our last one, which would have been 2019, right? So doing that work, I started a couple businesses, founded a co-working space. All of this centered around what I describe now as inclusive economic development. I ended up taking a job at the Durham Chamber in 2016 as vice president at the chamber, really to do economic development work. And for me, it was a matter of having a seat at the table where important decisions that were impacting our people were happening. I'm a strong believer that business is it can either be the catalyst for equity or it can be an opponent to equity, depending upon the intentionality that we use in economic development. Right. So I want to have a seat at that table and hopefully made a positive impact on our city for 4 years in that role, and was ready to move on to lead an organization as a president or CEO or executive director, and interviewed and actually had several job offers when I heard about the opportunity in Peoria. A recruiter actually reached out to me about the Peoria job, and keeping it a band with you, I wasn't going to come. Right. I was like, I was like, thanks for the email, but I'm pretty sure I want to stay in North Carolina. But that night, I hit Google, and I was, you get to at that time, you get to the front page of Google, and there was nothing but bad news about Peoria, bro.
Top 10 list.
all these bad top 10s, fastest shrinking
bottom
city.
10 list, depending on how you look at it.
Right. Worst place for African Americans, you name it, right? One of the most dangerous small cities, all these bad things. And then I click the image search. I always click an image search when I look for a city because I believe you can tell a lot by the aesthetics, the look and the feel of a city. And I saw this great skyline, beautiful waterfront. And so then I went down a rabbit hole, just reading about the history, past, present, and future for Peoria. And I saw a town that's got tremendous amount of, fantastic history. We just did the Annie Malone unveiling at the Riverfront Museum, which is a good example of that. But I was just blown away by the juxtaposition between the negative front page of Google and all of the positive stuff I was able to find by digging through. And this just felt like a place that had so much potential, bro, and a place that was small enough that we could help it realize that potential faster than in a much bigger city, right? I think I'm really driven by impact. Like I want to be in places where I can make a difference. And when I go to work every day in a town like Peoria, I can see that it's tangible for me. So that's a long story, but I decided to interview for the job. And the people I met on the Zoom screen, pandemic interviews, were so passionate about this place and believed in it and owned the problems, right? I was expecting the board to dodge those negative headlines, right? But they didn't. They hit them right on. Like, we have some real challenges here, right? Economically, we're in sort of a transitionary period. We got some challenges around race. We got some challenges around poverty. And everyone owned it and wanted to do something about it. And I thought that was dope, endearing. And fortunately, they liked me enough to invite me to take the job.
Right. And not only those problems, but not to mention police. And we got a new guy for that as well, too. So
yes. Yeah.
A swirl of dynamics. So coming from Durham, you mentioned economics. Coming from Durham, a bigger city, a little bit more opportunity, I would guess. More people, obviously. More than twice the size of Peoria. Coming from a bigger city, any bigger ideas that you saw or helped create in Durham that you want to see here in Peoria?
A lot, right? And a lot of which, so Peoria and Durham have a lot of similarities to me, right? I mean, you describe Durham as being twice the size of Peoria, which in terms of population it is, but Peoria and Durham feel about the same size. Like, if you ever get a chance to visit, you'll see what I mean. Maybe not today. Durham has cranes and condos everywhere now, but the Durham of my childhood and Peoria feel a lot similar. They both have this sort of industrial past, right? So Durham was the tobacco capital of the world for 100 years. Peoria was the earth moving capital.
It was the whiskey capital.
The whiskey capital.
Yeah.
But this post-industrial economy, like, cities that are trying to figure out how to reinvent themselves. One of the things that we pushed for in Durham, so Durham really reinvented itself around technology, right? We got, Google's putting a headquarters there, Apple's putting a headquarters there. But that was about 20 years worth of work to get us there, right? And so the piece of that puzzle that I got to participate in was the cultural piece, right? What we recognize is that business is very interested in operating in a place that has a culture conducive to attracting and retaining talent, right? Places that people want to live. And so for us, that was basically centered around our strength in Durham, which was diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? You read down some of the demographics, right? About 40% Black, about 40% white, 20% other ethnicities, a growing Asian community, growing Latinx community. That was a strength for Durham and something that we emphasized. But we had a lot of challenges, right? It's the South, where really, I'll state it differently. It's the United States of America, right? There are challenges between races, right? And we leaned into that work in economic development in a way that was a little bit controversial, right? Business community, I think, wasn't as used to talking about those complex social issues and really couldn't initially make the connection between why those issues mattered to grow business. And so we pushed for that, and we really rebranded our city as the cultural hub of the Triangle. And that proved to be beneficial because that's also where what we describe as millennials or Gen Zers want to live, in a place that's a cultural hub, right? And I think Peoria has a lot of those same elements. I think it's a super diverse city, particularly if you compare it to the rest of downstate Illinois. Peoria has more diversity, certainly a larger Black community, a growing Latinx community, a large Indian Asian community, growing East Asian community. It's a diverse city, right? Small but mighty in terms of diversity, right? And I think we need to start to leverage that and bake that into our brand. So some tangible things that we did. Black August in the Park was one, right? It was a festival initially centered around celebration, But being an entrepreneur, business is the lens through which I try to impact community. We started a second festival called the Black Market, which was centered around encouraging people to shop with Black business on Black Friday. And that had about 4,000 people the last time we did it, over 75 Black businesses, huge economic impact for the city. We then started a Black Farmers Market, which brought Black farmers from across North Carolina and Virginia together. And that's probably the biggest ongoing event of all. My friends are still running those events. They still make a huge impact on the city economically, but probably equally important, they make a huge impact on the brand of the city, right? And businesses, we saw Google reach out. So we didn't take any corporate sponsors for Black August in the Park. We were very intentional about that model was just for us to be together and celebrate, right? But we had every top tier business that wanted to sponsor it because businesses want to be associated with those sort of cultural movements. And really just to be seen as a business that's friendly to diverse populations. I think there's an opportunity to do those things in Peoria, right? I think the Annie Malone piece is another tangible thing I want to share. So back in Durham, this wasn't a festival that I particularly founded but participated in from the start, was something called Black Wall Street Homecoming. Black Wall Street Homecoming. So Durham was the home in the turn of the century of the highest concentration of Black millionaires anywhere in the country, right? So we had a street in our town called Paris Street, which at that time was called Black Wall Street. The largest Black-owned company, North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance, was founded on that street. So rich legacy, right? Black Wall Street, just like all Black Wall Streets in the country, was destroyed, right? Dismantled. And there was a group of folks who wanted to revive that spirit. And they created an event called Black Wall Street Homecoming that is now turned Durham into this hub for Black entrepreneurship, right? It's a huge weekend's worth of events where Black entrepreneurs from across the country can come in, pitch their ideas for venture capitalists, actually walk away with investors that weekend. I've seen people go from $0 to $250,000 in that weekend. That same weekend was then partnered with Google's Black Founders Exchange, which happens in Durham once a year. And these folks can walk away with millions of dollars of investment through that program.
Almost like a Shark Tank almost. Like
it is, right, but all centered around Black entrepreneurs, right? So the Annie Malone piece, I think, is a missing or underappreciated piece of Peoria's history, right? Annie Malone's the first Black millionaire, first Black female millionaire. She went to Peoria High School, right? So she's a Peorian. And I think she could be the flag through which we build a similar event here to turn Peoria into an entrepreneurship and innovation hub for Black entrepreneurs throughout the Midwest, right? A Annie Malone Entrepreneurship Weekend, where we bring people from Indianapolis, Chicago, St. Louis, all the way down to Memphis or throughout the country, right, to convene here and have opportunities to build their business. I also think Peoria is different from Durham in that we still are at a sort of early stage of our renaissance. And if we get people here, they can recognize how affordable it is to do business here, how easy it is to access resources, and we can start to grow this entrepreneurship and innovation economy here in Peoria. So I think that's a big opportunity for us. I've been working with Akbar Bryson, who's related to Annie Malone, on some ways that we can make that tangible. And the last piece of that, Annie Malone was a hair care tycoon, right? So hair care is the largest industry for Black people in the world, right? Black people generate more income from hair care than any other business vertical, right? Why can't we build that an incubator for that industry here in Peoria? We've got a lot of hair care entrepreneurs already here doing amazing things. In fact, some of our most successful entrepreneurs in the city are in the hair care industry. Yeah. So much to build on there, bro. I'm sorry for the long-winded answer.
No, you good, because you dropped out some great ideas that, as you can see, people are commenting on as we speak. I want to go back to something that you pointed out that a lot of people have been mentioning in the years that I've been back in Peoria, and also within recent weeks, I've heard people talk about it. And you mentioned cultural hub of the Triangle, Durham being that cultural spot in those three city areas. And I'm not super well versed in that. Look, I've been to A&T Homecoming. I know a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. I was at 19, right before the pandemic.
Did you know I went to A&T?
I know. That's why I brought it up. I got a pen, man. You know I did the homework. Did the homework.
I was Mr. G-Ho for many years, bro. But I wasn't there at 19. No, once my kids were born and I was involved in so many things, I think the last time I went to homecoming was 2016. So we missed each other. Yeah.
I know the greatest homecoming on earth. I know all about it. But so But one thing that has been talked about in the Peoria area amongst people that I speak to, you mentioned cultural hub, and it's trying to figure out how we can get Peoria to convene with the Galesburgs, the Bloomingtons, the Champagnes, maybe the Decaturs, tap on the Springfields. Because we just got to the point where we rock with East Peoria, and it's just right across the bridge. But we just got to the point where in recent years, people are, oh, I'm going to Target. Oh, which one? I'm going to Walmart. Oh, which one? Walmart a little bit further back because it was more common. But, you know, whether you're talking about Panda Express or you're talking about, you know, the couple of stores that you got both here in Peoria and East Peoria, TJ Maxx, which one you going to? So how from coming from a city that had that triangular approach where the different cities were messing with different cities and going to different stores, how do we get there in Peoria where if you're in a bigger city like Chicago or LA, you know, we complain like, oh, you going all the way to Bloomington. Well, if you live in Chicago, you might be traveling a half hour to get to the mall anyway, right? So these things aren't uncommon. How do we get Peoria to be that cultural hub for the Galesburg, for the Bloomington, for the Champaign?
Yeah, man. It's almost like you've been eavesdropping on some of my conversations because we've been talking. We've been talking quite a bit about this and this concept of regionalism, right? So everyone knows about the Triangle now, right? As this sort of regional brand, but the Triangle is only really about 60 years old, the concept. And I think if you were to ask people in the Triangle, it's only about 30 years since it's been real, right? So Durham, Raleigh, and Chapel Hill are the three cities in the Triangle, and there's just as much rivalry between those three cities as there is between Peoria and East Peoria or Peoria and Bloomington. But the difference is the leaders of those cities at the time realized that, okay, Durham was 150,000 people. I think Raleigh at that time was probably 300,000. Chapel Hill might have been 50 or 60,000 people. Those cities independently aren't very strong when it comes to recruiting business, right? If business is looking at your city and they say 110,000 people, I don't know if I can really do business in that market, right? Or even if you expand it to our metro area, oh, well, there's 300,000 people or so in the metro, right? The three counties here in Peoria. It's still not as strong as it would be if we combined our resources. And the only difference between the Triangle and the Peoria area or Central Illinois is that they realized they are stronger together than they are apart and created a consortium of communities to work together. And the brand speaks for itself, right? I mean, it is, again, Amazon, Google, Apple, you name it, have brought business there, brought job opportunities there. And it's one of the strongest economies and fastest growing places in the country. I think Peoria in this region has even more potential than the Triangle, right? I think the cities are more similar, in my opinion, easier to access through 74. I think there's just maybe some cultural challenges, right? I don't know enough about the history of why folks haven't worked together so well in the past, but I can tell you that since I've been here, it's been on my agenda, and I've taken trips to Bloomington, met with the Chamber of Commerce president there, Charlie. He and I have a good relationship. Rick Swan at East Peoria and I have a good relationship. Chris Setti, who runs the GPEDC, and I talk every single day about regionalism and how we can work together. I've been to Springfield, haven't made it to Champaign yet, but plan to. And my vision long-term for my role is to create a strong region, because I just don't think we can compete on a national scale as individual cities. And I think we're just stronger together.
Most definitely. And so are there any opportunities that you see that are already here? And this kind of goes into the first one, but are there any opportunities that you see in Peoria when you came, like, man, you ain't using that? Or like, you ever been to somebody's crib and you see like a bunch of shoes, like, why you don't wear these? Like, I never see, you know what I'm saying? Did you come to Peoria and identify certain opportunities that you feel like Peoria could utilize that we haven't tapped on yet?
I'll answer that in two ways. So I don't know if I think there's some things that Peoria may utilize, but not fully appreciate, right? So for a city of this size, we have so many amenities, man. We have a zoo that is not like a petting zoo, right? It's a zoo. It's you can see lions and giraffes and experience something that a larger city would have at a much more affordable rate. You can park, you can walk in and experience it. I think the park system is phenomenal, right? If you want to you go to Chicago and you see these massive parks and they're beautiful. Peoria has beautiful parks as well, but the difference is you don't have to fight through thousands of people to get to them, right? So I think I don't know the history of this either, Marcus, but for some reason, Peorians maybe feel like our city isn't as great as other cities when we have so many things to be proud of. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot of amenities here that we may not appreciate. For instance, my daughter learned to ice skate in Peoria at the Owen Center, and now is a competitive ice skater. It was so much more affordable than it would have been in a bigger city, so easy to get to. And the teachers all were friendly, and she was getting world-class training in Peoria, right? And there's countless examples of that. So I think Peoria has a lot of things that we just have to celebrate and appreciate as we tell our story, right? Like, I've heard people say this term, and it really bugs me because once I got here, bro, I became passionate about this place, right? I want this place to be as great as it can possibly be. I hear people say it's nice for Peoria, right? Or it's cool, for Peoria. And, that's sort of an inferiority complex that we have to ourselves stop saying, because as we say that, other people from other places are listening and they start to view us as less than, right? And, I'm here, I'm a Peorian now. I was told I'll never be a Peorian because I didn't go to high school here, but I'm repping for,
We'll see how time goes.
Bear with me.
We'll see what hoodies you start wearing at these basketball and football games, and we'll let you know. You get you a hoodie, you might be included.
But I'm repping for the P, right? And
right.
I want to see us be as proud of ourselves as we should be.
Now, I got another question, and then I got a couple others before we tap into the audience questions. But you mentioned the Apples, the Googles, and we see these things happen in cities that be around Peoria, but not Peoria. We see the Rockford get the stuff. We see Joliet get some stuff, and we seen Facebook do a data hub in DeKalb of all places. From somebody that's been from Durham and see these big headquartered companies come to that city, how do we pull in and attract these type of corporations that have these high volume jobs for Peorians?
It's complex, right? And I won't try to, I will answer your question, but I'll try not to oversimplify it and pretend like it's a magic wand that we can wave and make it happen. But there are a lot of factors, right? But I think the key for where most companies are looking to locate is talent. What I mean by talent is people that can work at the company, qualified people to work at the company, right? And there is we have a credentialing gap in Peoria, right? We have lots of jobs that are available in Peoria today that people don't have the credentials to get, right? And so we're solving that workforce gap through several programs. I am co-chair of something called the Regional Workforce Alliance, where we have a certification called GPEAK, which helps people get what we used to call soft skills, but essential skills, right? Because employers told us people may, you say you're a welder, right? They might know how to do the welding, but they lack what they describe as the essential skills, showing up on time, working in teams, those things. So there's a certification for that. ICC is a really good partner for the actual hard trainings, right? They're building a manufacturing academy for some of those existing jobs. But I think the way that we attract the jobs of the future, some of the companies you named, and we see growing economies across the state, is we need to be a place. It's quite simple. We need to be a place where people want to live, right? So making investments in quality of life improvements, right? You know what that means, right? It's places that you want to, nice places to live in, things that are affordable and accessible, things that are cool, right? Durham's motto used to be find your cool, right? Durham invested millions of dollars in looking cool. You know what I'm saying? And
that's what I want to see. That's what.
It sounds silly when I say this in rooms. Sometimes people are like, how do you package cool? But Peoria is kind of already cool. Like this weekend, right? The people that we saw, that was a dope. This
weekend was the cool list.
That was a dope event. But how do we replicate that? But also, how do we build that into the brand of the city? Because I don't think when I posted on my Instagram pictures from the party, nobody thought it was in Peoria, right? Including people that are in Peoria, right? So how do we incorporate that into the brand of the city? And this is a really long answer because it's a complex thing, but talent attraction is what we call it in the industry, has to be built into our city government strategy, our private sector business community strategy. We got to think about building a place where not only people want to come, but the people that are here want to stay. And sometimes that's about jobs, but sometimes that's also about quality of life, right? How fun is it here? How happy are you here? Do you feel safe here? And increasingly, we're seeing businesses follow the talent rather than the other way around. So Peoria's got all the tools. We just have to maybe think about our strategy differently than we have in the past, right? In the past, the way we did economic development was we go out, we recruit a big company, that company brings jobs, people follow those jobs. But you and I both know, particularly the millennial, our generation, I'm guessing you're a millennial, you might be younger than me, I don't know. Your beard is better than mine, so I don't know.
Man, hey, look, I got gaps, but you know what I'm saying? We keeping hope alive. We keeping it alive.
Right. Facts. The millennial generation is more interested in where the job is than what the job is, right? Like I have friends that, have jobs that they don't love, but live in a bigger city because they have more access to fun things and amenities and lifestyle things. So we want to be the where in addition to having the job. We want to be a place where people are like, yo, if you live in Illinois, you need to be in Peoria, right? So we got to fight for that.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I've been telling people as of late, mostly on my Instagram more so than Facebook, but on Instagram, I'll post some stuff from like, you'll see the boozies and stuff like that and different things over the past weekend. And they were like, man, y'all making me want to move back. And my cousin, he's from here. He lives down in Dallas now. He's like, man, do I really gotta go back? Like, do we need to buy a house there and at least be able to have that option to come chill? So it is dope over the last year, even despite the pandemic and things like that. It seems like, for some reason, for me, it seemed like since post-election, post-local elections, it's just been up and, all the different events like the Taste of the Hoods, and then everybody's bringing an artist every other week, it seems like. So I'm glad you brought that up. We got off on a tangent. Motherfucker, go ahead.
Nah, it's just a good time in Peoria right now. I think, and I don't mean to say that in a way that makes it feel like it's perfect in Peoria right now, but at least for me, the energy feels really good, right? The election, new leadership, in different positions. The pandemic, I think, made us appreciate Peoria a little bit more too, because it's less crowded. It's easier to move around, right? You don't have to be as worried. Our COVID numbers until this Delta variant were manageable for our health system and everyone else. So I feel good about being here, man. Like I tell all my homies back home, how they are surprised to hear that I'm enjoying it here, but I really am. You know what I mean?
That's what's now we got off on a tangent of just pure. I didn't even expect the interview to go in this direction, but we're getting a lot of feedback from the audience. And shout out to everybody that's tuning in. If you're just now tuning in, we got President CEO, first Black President CEO, far as I know, far as he know, of Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce. So it's pretty dope. But we never talked about the chamber. For the people that are tuning in now, might be small business owners, might be looking to open up a business, might be entrepreneurs. What do y'all do?
We do a lot, right? And I think the chambers are kind of this nebulous, hard to understand organization because we do so many things, right? But the key driver for a chamber of commerce is to advocate for an environment that's good for business, right? So that's a simple way to say it. That means we advocate on the policy level, right? We're interacting with your elected officials to share information or advocate for things that are going to be good for a business environment. Right now we're doing things like talking about talent attraction. We have a new program that we launched called Greater Peoria 2030, which is a 10-year talent attraction strategy, going out and actually actively marketing this region to attract people and business to come here is something that we do. We also advocate on behalf of our members, right? We're a membership organization, primarily small businesses. We want to give them all the services they need to connect and grow, build their business, whether that's connecting with things like loans and, through the COVID process, it was giving information about PPP and EIDL, helping people process through that system. But here's something really important that we're doing right now, probably the most important thing that I'll say. And if I keep talking about how much I like Peoria, I will forget to say this. So right now, the state of Illinois just released something called the Back to Business Grant. It's $250 million specifically set aside to give grants to businesses that were impacted by COVID. But here's what I love about the program. So this program learned from some of the challenges of previous PPP, EIDL, even the big grants. And they have applied what I'll describe as an equity focus or equity mindset to this grant. So that means that businesses that are most disproportionately impacted by COVID are prioritized in this process. So that means Black businesses, that means Latinx businesses, That means businesses in the 61605 zip code in Peoria. That means businesses in the East Bluff and the West Bluff. What they are describing as disproportionately impacted areas are get first priority, get the first stab at this bucket of money, which I think is super impactful, because if you look at the data around PPP and EIDL, Black businesses didn't get as many. Latinx businesses didn't get as many. Small local businesses on the south side of East Bluff and West Bluff of Peoria didn't get as much help. And this program is designed to fill that gap. So the grants are between $5,000 and $150,000. So where does the chamber come in? We have partnered with the GPEDC in the state of Illinois to be community navigators. So another challenge with the PPP and EIDL process was the application was too complicated, right? You get it, you got to have all this information. And if you're a small business owner just trying to stay above water, you don't have time to do that. So you miss out on some money. We've simplified the application process. It literally takes 5 minutes. But if you can't do it or you can't figure it out, our community navigators, which in my office are Shanika Williams and Susie Watkins, can help you through the process. We'll help you file your application. We'll check the status for you. We want Peoria businesses, specifically the most disproportionately impacted businesses, Black, Latinx, businesses on the south side, East Bluff and West Bluff, to get this money, right? And call our office, reach out to us, go to peoriachamber.org. You can get my information. We want to be here to help you. Or you can go to gpcovid.com. That's GP as in Greater Peoria, COVID.com. So that's what we're doing right now, making sure that businesses in Peoria get the relief they need. And I'm super passionate about that, man. Like I was at my barbershop talking to my barber, and, you know, barbers were hit hard in COVID.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
They lost a ton of money, and there was, you know, minimal relief for barbers and hairstylists and, you know, a lot of businesses that serve our community. So we want to make sure they get that money.
All right, so we're going to hit audience questions here real quick. Hold on, let me get my banner up. You know what I'm saying? Let me get my banner up. I saw a couple of them before we head off into the lightning round. It says, Allison says, how will you be helping businesses when the governor makes the decision to shut down again, since we are so close to that call being made with this Delta variant?
Yeah, that. You know what? That question keeps me up at night, Allison. I think about that every day. So two ways to answer that. I don't think we're on our way to a shutdown, right? I think we are on our way, as we know, back to a mask mandate, right? And so how I can help businesses is how do we navigate this current scenario, right? What are the mask protocols? How do you make sure you're doing what you can do? Can I give you resources to, you know, get vaccinated, right? Can I help your business, your staff or employees do that? And also, how do I get you relief, right? So we are advocating every single day with DCEO, with the state government, local government, to use some of this money that's flown from the federal government towards relief plans. And the first phase of that is $250 million, which is a significant bucket of money, right? And so that's some of what we'll have to do. But I can't stress enough how important us, regular everyday folks, doing what we're supposed to do is to preventing a shutdown, right? I genuinely don't think, it's my opinion, that we're headed towards a shutdown where things will be closed and you won't be able to get your nails and hair and shopping and those things done. But we're back to masks, and we know how we got here, right? So we all got to do our part, man. I don't like wearing my mask, right? I like to see your whole face when I'm talking to you. I like to be in person. I do not like Zooms. No disrespect to this meeting, this interview, but I prefer to be together with people in person. We can get back there, but, you know, keeping it a band, it's on us. It's on our family members. You know, we got to do the right thing. And I like how you described, Marcus, you described not telling people what to do about the vaccine. I know it's a personal choice, but it's one of our best tools in fighting this thing. So long answer, Allison, as all my answers are, but I want to make sure I touch on all the complex issues here. But one thing's for sure, the chamber will be here every single day fighting for you.
And her follow-up question before we head to Joe was, how do citizens participate in that conversation?
So I don't know which part of that, which conversation. So the business advocacy conversation, you could participate with us, right? We have several events throughout the year, jam-packed events calendar. We want to hear your voice. We're postponing our event called the Big Table, which is really our mechanism to do that sort of participation piece, mainly because of the Delta variant, right? Which impacts us as well, right? We want to be that convener for the community. But I would start with, give me a shout, Allison. I love to talk to you, and I can plug you into different conversations and spaces where, we're designed to be the voice of the business community, but I see us as a community impact organization. I think everyone's a part of the business community. If the economy shuts down or the economy is impacted, every one of us feels it. So I want you to be a part of the conversation.
And my man Joe said, "Is this the same Jay Gunn that was signed to Dubose?" And is he talking about it? So is that true? A and B, is he talking about James Dubose over at Fox Soul, who I interviewed a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, James Dubose is my main man. Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, I was signed to Dubose via a Universal Records imprint that he had.
What were you doing? Producing, rapping, what?
I'm an MC. Yeah, I rhyme.
Dope. Okay,
Yeah.
man. We gonna have to rap after this. Then
we should, bro. We should. That's why I when I say I spent my whole life in music, I spent my whole life in the music industry.
Yeah. And so and we rapped a while ago about getting Jeezy on to the Fox Soul and that whole thing. So dope. And Joe Ryan's a good friend of mine.
Big up to Joe. Yeah, respect, bro.
Yeah. Joe's dope. He good friend of mine going all the way back to my times in LA.
Nice. Yeah. So I lived in LA too when I was signed to Dubose.
Dope. Okay. Cool. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head to the lightning round because PJ Star gonna kill me, man. I was supposed to stop at a half hour, man. We went way over. But I want to ask this for the sake of Peoria. You talked about collaborating with different chambers. Is there any collaboration going on between the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce and the Black Chamber of Commerce here in Peoria?
For sure. So Larry Ivory and I are working together on quite a few things, right? We've developed a really good rapport specifically around what I think is a key missing element of our economic strategy, which is advocating for Black businesses, because we know that a lot of the challenges, particularly in Peoria, around poverty and violence are impacting the Black community almost exclusively, but certainly disproportionately. Larry is a longtime advocate for that. So Mr. Ivory and I work closely together. He is a community partner on our board of directors for the first time ever. So we're building those real partnerships with his organization, with the Hispanic Chamber, with Christelle and what she's doing, and with Denise Moore at the Black Business Alliance. So lots of collaboration there, man. And I think that's vital. We have to work together, right? Peoria is at a pivotal moment. We can make this the best city in the Midwest, or we can let it sink. And as long as I'm here, I'm trying to pull everybody around the table and get it done.
Most definitely. Okay, so lightning round.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a minute 50. You know what I'm saying? A minute 50 cent. You know what I'm talking about? And then we're going to do rapid fire questions. So quick answers, yes or no, A or B, that type of vibe. You ready?
Yep.
Make sure everything ready. Hold on. Let me get the clock on deck. All right. Boom. Favorite restaurant in Peoria so far?
I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Probably Time.
Okay. Favorite rapper?
Big Crit.
Oh, interesting. If you could see anybody in concert, who would it be?
Dead or alive?
Yeah, I'll give you.
Prince.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Who won the battle between Nas and Jay?
Jay.
Bailey or Lamb?
Lamb.
Favorite movie?
Menace to Society.
New York or LA?
New York.
Favorite X-Men character?
Wolverine.
Rap or R&B?
Rap.
Everybody says Wolverine, by the way. Chamber of Commerce, man. 800 credit score or $100,000 cash. That was a big thing a couple months ago. 800 credit score or $100,000 cash.
Cash is king. So I think but it's got to have context to the question, right? Do I have wait. Do I have $100,000 and a 500 credit score, or do I have $100,000 and because
a man is going to give you 100 racks or 800 credit score? What do you go with?
I probably would take the 100 racks because I know what I can do with it.
Okay, Jordans or Yeezys?
Jordans.
Henny or Patron?
Neither.
Michael Jackson.
I don't drink Henny or Patron no more.
I dig it. You kind of answered it from Michael Jackson or Prince?
Prince.
Martin or Fresh Prince?
Fresh Prince.
All right. Blue Devils or Tar Heels?
Tar Heels. Come on.
I know. Yeah. Top 5 rappers of all time. Quick.
Scarface, Jay, Scarface J, Andre 3000.
Okay. She was trying to tweet.
Ghostface, and Black Thought.
Grits take salt or sugar?
Grits take both.
You put salt and sugar in the same bowl of grits?
No, not at the same time. It just depends. Yeah. It depends. If I'm having catfish and grits, it's salt. But if I'm having just grits and something else, it's sugar.
So the answer is low-key sugar. But okay, cool. That makes sense. I was gonna say, I don't know what y'all doing in Durham. Y'all a bunch of serial killers putting both in a bowl.
Sometimes when we grew up, all we had was grits and whatever was in the cabinet. So we mixed it in. We always had salt and sugar, but the sugar made it taste better as a kid.
Yeah, and throw that butter on. That's what I be trying to tell them. That's what I be trying to tell them.
Facts.
Hey, shout out your information so people that want to get a hold of you. Some people in the comments saying, how do we keep that conversation going? They want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, we'd love to. Just PeoriaChamber.org. My email, phone number, everything's there. PeoriaChamber.org. Yeah, I think my cell phone number is even up there, so feel free to hit me.
Sounds good, man. Joshua Gunn, President and CEO of Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce. First Black one to do it, man. Appreciate you coming on to RapPolitics.
Hey, big respect. Thanks for everything you're doing, man.
Already, bro. Already.
All right, peace.